but tomorrow is going to be quite a trek. Going to go over Halvergate Marshes, and then I'm going to try and get up to the Berney Arms station and then make my way into Great Yarmouth. But I think the morning in particular is going to be quite tough. A lot of that's off-road, and I think a lot of it will be walking. Hello, good morning from the old Vicarage Farm campsite at 5:20 AM on day 2 of my pilgrimage cycle tour. See over there, just above the hedgerow, the sun's risen already. It's nice and light, birdsong everywhere. This is my nice little campsite. I'll just walk you up and show you around. It's one of those farm sites. This is one of those farm campsites, a bit like the last one I went to in Wiltshire, where they actively encourage you to have campfires and barbecues. Look, they've got these fire pits there, and they supply bags of wood in here. I think it's £6 a bag, which is cheap, because I know from my local hardware shop they're normally about £10 a bag. And you've got a fridge, freezer, first aid kit, an old faded map of the area. And they've got this USB charging site, which is really handy. You can either pay by card or cash. Don't bother you, just tells you how much it is and like leaves it to you to pay honestly. Adults £12 a night, children's £5, and the free's free, pets £2 a night, brazier hire free, firewood £6 a bag, all very reasonable. Nice little washing area there, drinking water, a couple of sinks. I'm just going to go up into the compost loo. I'm not going to film what I'm doing in here, but I just want to show you a little sign on the wall. I saw it last night. I don't know about you, but I'm not that familiar with compost toilets. It just says, do your business, cover it with sawdust as usual, shut the lid, clean your hands. I like this, use the scoop for the poop, but for wee, let it be. There's really nice shower cubicles here. Oh, so nice and cosy. Got all the hooks where you really need them. Soap tray. And again, it's like that campsite in Wiltshire, just knocked up from farm material lying around actually. Regular viewers will be familiar with a lot of my kit, but for those who are not, just run through it quickly. I've got a Trangia Mini there, it's a mess burner. I've just lit the stove, I just waited a few minutes for the flame to flare up and bloom. Then I'll be boiling some hot water there for some coffee. The one luxury I do bring is a China ceramic mug. I just cannot get on with camping mugs. I've tried enamel mugs, plastic foldable ones a lot, so it's a little bit more bulky, a little bit more weight, but that's my one luxury. I've got a bit of silver foil from a baking tray actually. We did a roast dinner in a few weeks ago, just fold it up and use it as a ground protector just to stop the grass scorching, and then just put the water on this little pot stand. I've got this concertinaed heat shield, just folds up, goes in, stuff sack of its own. I did bring some fairy lights for the tent. These are coloured lights, and there's another set in there, white lights for the bike. My wife got me these recently off Temu. I think it's about 79p each, and they just go straight into a USB port, so there's no rechargeable batteries like my old one, so much less bulky, and I can just recharge them on the road. It never really got dark enough last night because it started to chill down about 8:30. I just got in my sleeping bag. Next thing I knew, I was zipping the tent up, went to sleep, and there's all my cooking utensils in a bag. One of these lighters with an extendable rod. These extended nozzles are really handy for lighting, especially in meth stoves when you can't always tell whether the flame's lit. So a bit about today's route. I'm really looking forward to it, but it is going to be quite isolated. I need to really make sure I'm self-sufficient, so I'll be popping back to Reedham, the village near the ferry from yesterday, and stocking up with plenty of supplies, because there's about 11.5 miles of nothing really, just across the marshes, riding along river paths and dikes. And then I'm going to detour slightly to go and see Berney Arms, one of Britain's most isolated and unused stations. I'm probably going to aim for Great Yarmouth tonight and try and camp at the racecourse. I may only do 12-13 miles today, but this is a section I really wanted to explore in depth. So 8 AM and I'm just setting off. Got my rubbish on my handlebars in a bag. I'm told the bins are down the end of this track. This is the way I should have come in last night. I overshot it. There's this very poignant war memorial here telling you about the collision of 2 American B-17 bombers. It happened on the 21st of February 1944. 2 bombers from the 385th Bomb Group returning from a raid in northwestern Germany crashed after colliding over Halvergate Marshes. Happened about 20 to 4 in the afternoon, so it was a daylight raid. The collision, they think one of them may have suffered from vertigo and got confused, and then in 1995 the propeller of one of them was recovered. And there's photographs of all the dead. I'm now at Reedham Quay, back down on the River Yare. So yesterday I followed the course of the river on the south bank from Norwich, got the chain ferry across yesterday afternoon, rode 3 miles up that campsite. I've just come back here now and I need to wait half an hour for the stores to open, because the next part of the ride, the next 11 miles into Great Yarmouth, is absolutely very bleak, across Halvergate Marshes, and that'll take me all the way into Great Yarmouth. So there's nothing along there. I need to be self-sufficient. I may just ride along and see if there's another shop. If not, come back here for half an hour. So a gentleman's just told me if I carry on back up the hill off to the right, there's some stores up there, and it's actually en route anyway. Well, I've picked up so much food at the local stores at the top of the hill, probably overdone it actually. So I'm on tarmac now for about a mile until we get to the marshes, but I'm just crossing over the railway. I saw that bridge and I thought, it can't possibly be a railway bridge, and it is. You can see how bleak the railway is along here, going over the marshes. That's pretty much what I'm heading for actually. So a bit of tarmac and then we hit the dike path and we'll see what happens. As I said, nervous but also excited. This is nice along here. Nice little cooling breeze. So the tarmac just suddenly ended and I'm on what looks like a farm track, and I think that's about to turn into gravel. Can you see all the dust and the soil there? I'm guessing that's residue from rain off the fields. And here we are, back on the worry man's way. Great Yarmouth, 11.5 miles. I'm about 2 miles into the ride across Halvergate Marshes. I'm down in this little trough. I imagine this is a floodplain. Got high tall grass and reeds on my left, and there's a dike and the river's just over there, and there's a couple of windmills in the distance. So far all going well. I suppose my big fear is I get so many miles and I just find an obstacle I cannot get past. So I've got a couple of what if plans. I'm aiming to get to the Berney Arms station, just slightly off route, for my lunch, and I could always get a train back to Reedham there or into Great Yarmouth. Who knows, I may end up back at the campsite I stayed at last night. Feel a bit stupid because I told a few people what I was doing today. So far all going well. Ask me again at 6 PM tonight. First potential issue, there's a gate coming up Will I be able to get through it, or will I have to decant the panniers, climb over it with the bike and the panniers separate? We'll see. Phew, as I was hoping, able to open the gate, just held shut with some string. Make sure I shut it again properly. Okay, I'm up on this raised level, which is the dike. Got the reeds that side, the river's just behind there, although you cannot see it. The footpath seems to just going at the lower level, so it may be a bit of this and a bit of that. Let's get going and see how we get on. I'm loving being up on this higher level. Looking at my Garmin, it suggests I should be down there, but you've got the two options. But there's a waterway that side of me now, drainage channel, so I'm on this little kind of thin strip of island. Most of the sheep are also down there, so I don't want to spook them any more than I have to. Rather foolishly, I forgot to check exactly the mileage that I entered the marshes, because I'm on 8 miles so far from the campsite, but about 3 of that was backtracking to the route, and then about another mile. So what would that be? Probably about 3.5, 4 miles into these marshes. 3.5, 4 of the 11. Yeah, there's a waterway down there. I'll just stop and show you. So I really am on this little island. Oh gosh, there's a church over there. I see a church tower. That Betchman line. What would you be, you wide East Anglian sky, without church towers to recognise you by? I think that encapsulates this perfectly. I'm just loving this so much. Hear the wind going through the reeds, the sheep buying as I approach, and some bird song, swans over there. This must be one of the most isolated places I've been to in the UK. Just climbed up onto the embankment, get a really good view of the river there. Get these sweeping views. Gosh, what an isolated house. Love the old traditional windmill there, look. Scattered all over here. My route turns right now, so I'm heading that way. And it's about to get more overgrown, I think. So far, access is alright. Long grass coming up. I'm happy to push for stretches. It actually breaks up the trip. Reedham, 2 miles. So I've done 2 miles already. I think it said Berney Arms is going to be either 5.5 or 6.5, because I'm following the route in reverse. So, 1/3 of the way to my lunch stop. I'm perfectly happy with pushing if I have to. This is just so nice. Nice and warm. Little mooring here with its own picnic site. Looking across the marshes, and we continue around this way. I'm going to follow the signposted route just to make sure I'm not trespassing, and it is up on the dike at the moment, so I'm going to stick to that until I know otherwise. Look at the sheep coming across by me. Wow. I've just had to deviate, that's private property there, so the route comes up on the embankment here along this dike. That picnic area there for moorings. Lovely old windmills there. See them all along here. There's a bit of long grass through there, just a few hundred yards, which I pushed through. I'm obviously checking myself for ticks every night in the shower. I'm getting stung a lot. That goes with the territory just now. I've got cream for that. But this bit looks rideable, and so far I guess to encourage dog walkers, there's not going to be too many stars. The gates are hinged at the moment. Maybe that's wishful thinking. I hope it doesn't come back and bite me. Anyway, onwards that way. This is nice. It's a steady 5 miles an hour. Feel like you're making progress without making hard work. And also I don't want to rush it either. Quite looking forward to getting to the race course tonight. I've stayed there before. And although it's a bigger site than I would normally want to go to, just got very, very pleasant memories of it. So a bit like yesterday, had that planned for the ferry campsite and didn't stay there in the end. I've had to decant the panniers to get through that kissing gate and just put the bike upright and swing it round. Taking about 5 minutes, and now I've got another section of long, well, grass and plants, so again, need to really be careful when I have a shower tonight, make sure there's no ticks or nasty bugs attached to me, feeding off me. Although the footpath is very clearly signposted up here, it's so overgrown, it's quite hard going. I think I'm going to take this, what looks like a trodden path, down onto the lower level. I've just scrambled down to make sure it's safe to do it. So here it goes. Thank you to the person who invented disc brakes. Yeah, much easier along here. Going to carry on walking for it, but I may be able to ride shortly. This is long grass rather than thistles, thorns, plants, nettles, etc. Although I'm walking, this is so much easier. It's tall grass rather than thick vegetation. A couple of times up there, it's actually difficult to actually see the course of the path. It's so overgrown. Coming up to another settlement, look, with a windmill. So all along here, there must be tarmac access up these places. So there's always that reassuring thought that I can bail to a main road if I have to, but I really don't want to. I came here for adventure. Wow. Looks like a rideable section coming up. I've just had a very hard half an hour or so up on the dike, the higher level course. I had to decant the panniers off the bike just to get it all through a swing gate, and then the grass was very, very long, thistles and thorns, and the footpath was hard to follow. In the end, I found a safe place just to get down on the lower level. And I remember from Audax, just don't let the bad times get you down, because they don't last forever. Quite often they're followed by a good time. And that's exactly the case here. I just stopped here, looked at the Garmin, saw that Y on the navigation, thought, didn't realise there was a junction here. I suddenly realised this is my dock leg up to Berney Arms station. It's about half a mile up there. In fact, I think I can see the course of the railway. So, as often happens when you're like a little bit low, it's almost instantly followed by a real high. So I'm quite looking forward to getting up there now. Gonna have my lunch there, and that'll be about the halfway stage of today between Reedham and Great Yarmouth. So, heading up to Berney Arms station. There should be a track going off to the left shortly. Don't think it's much more than a footpath. Well, hey, I've made it to Berney Arms, one of Britain's most isolated and least used stations, and according to the Wikipedia page you can only access it by boat, train or on foot. I think I proved that wrong. You can get here on bike, but it has been hard work. I've had to decant the panniers off the bike a few times, and this is a classic reason. Because of a swing gate, I literally have to lift the panniers over, get the bike through there, upright it, do kind of a 3-point turn to get it through, and then reconnect it all there. This is literally just a dog leg up from that windmill. So that couple coming up, they're heading here as well. I just had a chat with them. So this is the station, Berney Arms Mill, ancient monument, and here's the station. After I'd made up my route for this Pilgrim trail, this video popped up on Facebook, algorithm I suppose, and it was a young guy who did about a minute film. I'll put a link to it in the first comment actually, and it's really inspiring, and it just made me want to come here. And I quickly checked my route and realised literally it's about a quarter of a mile from my route, so it's an obvious detour. And by all accounts it's a request stop, so you either flag the train down from the platform or you ask the conductor on the train to stop. And that young guy said him and his friends, they were the first people the conductor had stopped the train for that year, and it was in July. And this was the least used station in the year 2019 into 2020, and I expect the following year during the pandemic it had even fewer passengers. And he said it's a very short platform, and my goodness it is as well, isn't it? Direction of travel, Great Yarmouth, Berney Arms, in the middle of the Halvergate Marshes. Oh, look at deer running across there. A couple have just arrived, about to pass them, so I'll leave them to their savouring moment. Oh, that's really nice. I had a nice long chat with them there from Brighton. They're just boating, they just pulled in. They wanted to come up here and have a look. Right, back to the windmill, and then turn left into Great Yarmouth. Back at the River Yare by the windmill, so you can see the Wherryman's Way public footpath sign reading the way I've come 4 miles, and it's going to Great Yarmouth 5 miles that way, so I'm kind of about halfway, just under maybe. And by all accounts that is the Berney Arms. The couple from one of these boats was just telling me. I don't know what made me think it, but probably to do with that video. I just guessed the Berney Arms was up by the station, but there's just literally nothing there. It's just at the crossroads of a railway and a footpath. So that's the Berney Arms. I think I'm going to head there, find some tarmac or somewhere to leave my bike and just have my lunch. Don't know what time it is, but I'm starting to feel peckish. Oh, there's a couple coming back. I can see them walking. That was a really nice encounter. We had a just good old chinwag there. Back on the riverbank. This is a little free mooring just along from the windmill. And this is the old Berney Arms, the pub. I did see an old video where a couple had moved down and took it over. And I sort of thought, if it's that remote, I mean, where is your custom going to be? And then I suddenly realised, popular in the summer, I guess, with boaters and walkers, possibly campsite as well. There's 3 moorings here with hookups, so I think this is a good place for my lunch. I don't know what time it is. I'm guessing it's getting on for midday because my stomach's rumbling. I'm getting hungry. Lovely sun trap, so I can sit myself on this seat here, get my washing in the sun. Most of it's dry already, to be honest, and I can lighten my load a little bit with this squashed tuna and sweet corn sandwich and cookies, and I'm so glad I bought a couple of these. Just a little energy boost. I'm not short of fluids, but I'm just short of energy, that's for sure. Whenever I go cycle touring, I know it's going to be really good, but there's also going to be some tough times, and I always try and keep a sense of humour. I've got a load of those memes on my phone, you know, just to cheer me up and make myself laugh. I'll remember this for a long, long time. just to the left of the windmill. I had quite a hard stretch when I was up on the dyke, and it was so overgrown. I was getting cut and scratched, broke a fingernail. Ooh. And you just have to tell yourself, you've got to push through those barriers. You know, it's not going to last forever, and there will be a high for every low. And lo and behold, when I got to the windmill, I suddenly realised, oh gosh, I'm much further along than I thought. You know, when I saw that dog leg up to Berney Arms, that was just such a high. And then meeting that couple up there, that was just so nice, because they were going up there. I think they're from that boat there, or they were moored there anyway. So I'm going to be carrying on that way. I don't think I'm going to get my bike back up these steps, so I'll probably have to go back along there and scramble up onto the upper level. There's a cruise ship coming along. As soon as you leave Berney Arms, you're straight into long grass again. So this is going to be pushing for a while. The long grass is okay. It's when you got all the thistles and the other plants with sharp thorns on them, and it was actually difficult to trace the course of the path at times. There's one bit where I thought I was going the right way, and I suddenly felt myself almost leaning over. This is fairly defined along here. I'm probably helping to redefine it, aren't I, by pushing my bike through here. Well, within quarter of a mile of leaving Berney Arms, I've come to a choice point. I'll try and explain this little creek coming in. Look, there's a stile here which is quite overgrown, but I'll be able to get the bike over that and then carry on around the coast that way. But I've just spotted, if I was to take my bike up over that fence there, it looks like there's a defined farm track, and I seem to remember that from the route planning. I think that's what I may aim to do, is get down on that and try and ride along there. I can see all the traffic on that very main road, the Norwich to Great Yarmouth Road. I would not want to ride on that. So no matter how challenging this becomes, it's better than that. So I think I'm going to aim for that gravel track over there. Okay, I've manhandled me and the bike from the dyke down to this farm track. So let's see how I get on doing this. That's my Garmin pinging just to see I'm slightly off course. I know. Gosh, I've just realised I'm intersecting the railway line. Well, part luck, part instinct, but I think I've made the right call coming along here, because I notice I'm intersecting with the railway line. That's the Great Yarmouth to Norfolk Railway, and it's part of the inspiration for this trip actually, because last year when I finished my Thankful Villages cycle tour at Great Yarmouth, I got the train back from Bath here. I remember it was a local train from Great Yarmouth to Norwich, and I remember going along here thinking, this is wonderful, I'll have to come back and explore this sometime. So it all ties in with the theme of the ride. Now I realise I'm heading towards a kind of a pumping station, so I think rather than being a farm track, this is more utilities. I'm back on the Wherryman Way, so it must have come that side, and the Wherryman's Way carries on that way into Great Yarmouth. So it looks like I'm back on course now. Great Yarmouth, 3.5 miles. I just got Google Maps up and realised I'm at the big wide water. It's where the River Yare really opens up into this huge, I think it's partially man-made. Gosh, I can see the Ferris wheel over there. That's Great Yarmouth seafront. The Wherryman's Way actually comes up here, and this probably would be okay, but there's a stile again, so I'm going to carry on along that way, then I can always scramble up. But this is a very welcome sight. There's a windmill back there, Berney Arms. Wow. I can see all the traffic going along there. That really busy road. I did ride along that once. There was a couple of First World War pillboxes I wanted to go and have a look at. There's one either side of that main road. Hexagonals, I think. Right, I'll carry on along there. If I get a chance to get up on the bank without any stars, I'll do it. Otherwise, I'll just carry on. Okay, I've just come to my first locked gate along here. And there's the dike going along there. So I think this would be a good opportunity to get off this track and then get up onto the dike, and I'll be following the dike path alongside the water into Great Yarmouth, and that is actually officially a footpath, so I don't think I'm trespassing, but the fact there's a locked gate, oh, in fact I've got a feeling I might be able to get through that. Yes, result. Okay, so I've got back up on the dike. I've walked along the footpath, really on the outskirts of Great Yarmouth, and there's a locked gate and a stile, one just along there, so I'm going to have to decant. I did consider going across that level crossing, taking that track down there, because it looks like they both lead to that kind of waste area there, but that would be even worse, get the bike across there, because the gate is locked and also it's a pedestrian style kissing gate. So 2 last decants, hopefully. There's the main road over there. Oh, and there's the pillbox, that lorry there, the blue and white lorry, just passing it now. There's one this side of the road, one just opposite on the other side of the road. World War I pillboxes. Well, that was a relief. Got a spring loaded gate, I was able to just push it through that. Long grass and some thorns, thistles, but I don't care as long as there's not a 10-foot fence, which means I've got to go all the way back. So I've nearly made it to Great Yarmouth from Norwich along the old Pilgrim trail. This is the River Yare as it comes into Great Yarmouth. It becomes this huge water. I think it's partly man-made, can't remember the name of it. There's the busy road there, that's Norwich to Great Yarmouth Road. Running alongside this is the railway line, Norwich to Great Yarmouth. And this is a little bit of a taste of what I've been riding through today, or pushing. Very tall long grasses, but there's the big wheel of Great Yarmouth. I think I'm going to go up to the seafront, treat myself to an ice cream, then go and find a Premier store, get myself a few beers, then go and check into the racecourse campsite. This is actually a designated footpath. I'm walking along it, but it's called the Warrior Man's Way, so I'm not treading over anything I shouldn't. Wow, I'm looking forward to that. So it shows this can be done. A lot of today's been rideable, but this is kind of indicative of the bits that haven't been rideable. Long grass, thistles, thorns. I've got scratched a bit, so I've got cream for that. And celebrate tonight getting to the end of the first of the Pilgrim trails from Norwich to Great Yarmouth. It can be done, but you've got to treat this bit with respect and take all day to do about 15 miles and be prepared to be stung and cut to bits. Oh, and I broke a fingernail as well. That was quite nice. A couple of walkers came along. I said I've been clearing the path for you as much as I can. And they said, oh, you've got about another mile of this before you can get off this path. I said, that's okay, I've come from Norwich. A mile's nothing. In fact, it's got a lot better since I've seen them. And they just said to me, is it bad along there? And I said, yeah, it is about 3/4 of a mile until you get to that level crossing, then it gets better. So I hope we've kind of reassured each other. I said to them, as long as there's not a 9-foot fence at the end, I have to go all the way back to Norwich. They said, no, you're okay. So hopefully no more climbing over stiles. But I have got about another mile of this. But this is actually better than just before I spoke to them. It's only grass now, rather than chest-high thistles and thorns and what almost looks like trees starting. I've come all the way along here, and it's like that mental block, you know, when you're riding into a headwind and the road just seems straight. I just kept seeing that green fence, you know, separating us from the railway, so I knew how far I had to go. It didn't seem to be getting any closer. So now it says Weaver's Way, Great Yarmouth, half a mile. So I'm guessing probably somewhere near that bridge. And it says that way, Berney Arms, 4.5 miles, Reedham, 8.5. On my Garmin I've got 14.85. I feel like it is more like 10 or 11. I'm not just saying that, and that would kind of tie in with this as well. Just feel this is a pivotal point really. It just feels the end of the pilgrimage as you're about to kind of enter the built up busy metropolis, well, Great Yarmouth. Looking back at my pilgrimage trail, wow, really enjoyed this, but I'm really looking forward to getting to a campsite. I've no idea what time it is. Sun's still quite high, I guess 3 o'clock, something like that. Well, talk about the sublime to the ridiculous. I probably just had the hardest mile and a half of the trail so far actually, especially as you could see Great Yarmouth in the distance, tantalisingly close but painfully slow walking, and quite painful on my legs as well, scratching and cutting. And then I saw a gravel track as I approached that bridge. My instinct just said, just go down there, it's got to lead somewhere. Then it became tarmac, and you come in alongside Asda, McDonald's drive-through, and Great Yarmouth Station. What a way to end the first of my pilgrim trails. Head towards the seafront now. Once I'm there I can get my bearings, and then I'll go and find an ice cream parlour, somewhere to buy some bottles of beer, and then make my way to the campsite. It's now about 5 hours later, 20 past 8 in the evening. I checked in here about 3 PM actually. This was £20 10 pence for the night. I've stayed here a couple of times before. I really like it here actually. Right on the northern outskirts of Great Yarmouth. It's the race course over there. And just a really nice campsite. Got myself a couple of beers. There's a nice seat over there. I've just spent about an hour or so chilling out with my beers, reading my book. Got all my washing done early. Most of that's dry actually. The guy who runs it was watering the flowers earlier on, and he was saying there's rain forecast. And when I spoke to Linda on the phone earlier, she said there's rain in Bath at the moment. Not heavy, but kind of too wet to go out and sit in the garden. So I could wake up to rain in the morning. I'm not too bothered actually. Today was just such a great experience. I don't mind what the weather does from now on, even if I have to use tarmac all the way up to King's Lynn. I've got another 7 days, haven't I? Today's Tuesday and I don't go back till next Tuesday, so I've literally got 7 days to literally ride up the coast. The Norwich to Great Yarmouth one was the one I really wanted to do, and I just feel like I've succeeded, so I'm on quite a high tonight actually. So I've just put my lights on my bike. Be lighting those up later. I'll probably try and get a time lapse of the sun going down over there. Just gone 9:30 AM. It's a lovely evening still, but I can just feel a few spots of rain coming down on the ground sheet. I think I would call that a night. Say good night. See you tomorrow.